The war in Ukraine is a tragedy that has roots stretching back decades, deeply embedded in the complex history of the region. It is a story of broken promises, geopolitical tensions, and the human cost of conflict, affecting millions of lives. To understand the current situation, we must revisit a pivotal moment, the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991, a turning point in modern history. This event led to the independence of Ukraine, a nation with deep historical ties to Russia, yet yearning for its own identity. However, this newly found independence was not without its challenges, as Ukraine faced economic struggles and political instability. Ukraine, a nation geographically positioned between Russia and the West, became a focal point of geopolitical tug-of-war, caught in a delicate balance. Russia, under Vladimir Putin's leadership, never fully accepted Ukraine's sovereignty, viewing it as part of its sphere of influence. This tension escalated in 2014 with the annexation of Crimea, a Ukrainian peninsula with a majority Russian population, igniting further conflict. This event was a turning point, marking the beginning of a simmering conflict that would eventually boil over into full-scale war. The annexation of Crimea was met with international condemnation, but it also emboldened Russia, showing the world its aggressive stance. It demonstrated Putin's willingness to use force to achieve his geopolitical objectives, regardless of international opinion. This act of aggression set the stage for the current war, a conflict that has brought immense suffering and destruction. It sowed the seeds of mistrust and animosity, creating a powder keg in the heart of Europe, with far-reaching consequences. The conflict in Ukraine is a stark reminder of the fragility of peace and the devastating consequences of unresolved historical grievances, echoing through generations. The situation in Ukraine escalated dramatically on February 24, 2022, when Russia launched a full-scale invasion, marking a significant and alarming escalation in the conflict. This marked a turning point in the conflict, transforming a regional dispute into a war with global implications, drawing the attention and concern of nations worldwide. The invasion sent shockwaves through the international community, prompting widespread condemnation and swift sanctions against Russia, aimed at curbing its aggressive actions. The ongoing conflict has had a devastating impact on Ukraine, resulting in widespread destruction and a humanitarian crisis of immense proportions, affecting millions of lives. Millions of Ukrainians have been displaced from their homes, seeking refuge in neighboring countries, creating one of the largest refugee crises in recent history. The war has also resulted in countless civilian casualties and left many struggling to access basic necessities like food, water, and medical care, exacerbating the humanitarian crisis. Amidst the devastation, stories of resilience and resistance emerge, showcasing the indomitable spirit of the Ukrainian people. Ukrainian citizens have taken up arms to defend their country, demonstrating extraordinary courage and determination in the face of adversity, standing united against the invasion. International organizations and NGOs are working tirelessly to provide humanitarian aid to those affected by the conflict, offering a lifeline to many in desperate need. However, the situation remains dire, with no end in sight, as the conflict continues to rage on. The war in Ukraine is a stark reminder of the human cost of conflict and the urgent need for a peaceful resolution, highlighting the importance of international solidarity and support. The war in Ukraine has profoundly impacted European security, shattering the post-Cold War order and leading to a reassessment of defense strategies and alliances. This conflict has forced European nations to confront the reality of their security vulnerabilities and the need for a more robust defense posture. The conflict has exposed Europe's vulnerability to Russian aggression and highlighted the importance of transatlantic unity in the face of shared threats. The need for a cohesive and coordinated response has never been more apparent. One of the most immediate consequences of the war has been the influx of Ukrainian refugees into neighboring countries, primarily Poland, Romania, and Hungary. This mass movement of people has created both humanitarian challenges and opportunities for solidarity. These countries have shown remarkable solidarity in welcoming millions of displaced Ukrainians, providing them with shelter, food, and medical assistance. The outpouring of support from local communities and international organizations has been heartening. However, this influx has also strained resources and social systems, requiring long-term solutions for integration and support. The challenge now is to ensure sustainable assistance and integration for these refugees. The war has also prompted a significant shift in European defense policy. Countries are now more focused on enhancing their military capabilities and readiness. NATO members have increased their military spending and strengthened their presence in Eastern Europe, demonstrating their commitment to collective defense. This renewed focus on defense is a direct response to the perceived threat from Russia. The conflict has also accelerated the process of European integration, with countries recognizing the need for closer cooperation on security and defense matters. This has led to new defense agreements and joint military exercises. Moreover, the war has had ripple effects on global alliances, forcing countries to reassess their relationships with Russia and the West. The geopolitical landscape is shifting as nations navigate these complex dynamics. The conflict has highlighted the stark contrast between democratic values and authoritarianism, prompting some countries to distance themselves from Russia and align more closely with the West. This realignment is reshaping global alliances and influencing